Big news, AFTV are coming to Ghana. We are coming to Ghana in Africa between the 6th and 12th of February, and we're going to be meeting Ghanaian Arsenal fans and doing a watch party around the West Ham versus Arsenal football game. You do not want to miss this, so Ghana, get ready. We are coming. AFTV.
Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with fans to be linked with January transfer move to Arsenal. Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that be linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. Today is transfer deadline day. Deadline day. I have never known anything like it. In all my years of doing this show, this is the original transfer show, by the way, on YouTube, right? 11 years in now, 12, right? I've been doing this. And I have never, ever known such a quiet transfer window, including all the other clubs in the Premier League. It's just been absolutely dead. You know what I mean? And even today, on deadline day, I don't expect there to be a lot of movement amongst any clubs in the Premier League. Now, if there is to be movement, let me just bring you sort of up to date with the state of affairs today. Various different transfer windows across Europe close at different times. So the transfer window in Germany closes at 5 p.m. UK time. The transfer window for Serie A in Italy, 7 p.m. UK time. It's 10 p.m. UK time for Liga and the French one. And Spain, they always do things late over there, La Liga, and also the Premier League. The windows shut at 11 p.m. So that's the state of affairs for the closing of the transfer windows. But as I said, I have never ever seen such a quiet transfer window for Arsenal. I mean, listen, we've had transfer windows before. We ain't really done nothing, but at least we've been linked with a whole host of players, and there's been players that we've tried to get over the line and we didn't quite get them done and that sort of stuff. This time it's just been very, I mean, loads and loads of links as we'd expect, but it's been very, very quiet. Let me just sort of bring you back to the start of the transfer window. It's all about, are Arsenal going to bring in a striker, right? Everybody started off this transfer window by saying the one thing that Arsenal need right now is a striker, and we still need a striker. But it's really starting to look like that's not going to happen this January. It's more likely to happen in the summer. And just sort of looking ahead to the summer, and some of the players that we've been linked to this January transfer window that could possibly happen in the summer. I think it could be an exciting summer. Let's look at some of those. There's Victor Osimhen, of course, who's been linked heavily with Arsenal, linked heavily with Chelsea. Man United maybe could be in there as well, but certainly he's definitely leaving Napoli in the summer. Now, where is he going to be heading? That's going to be the interesting thing. That will be keeping us enthralled at the start of the transfer window. He's said to have this £110 million release clause, and where will he end up this summer? It's funny because I was looking, I forget which journalist it was doing a comparison to his numbers and Gabriel Jesus' so far this season, and it's almost identical. So he's not exactly been ripping it up for Napoli this year. He did last year, but he hasn't been doing it this year. But where will he end up this summer? Where's Ivan Toney going to end up? He was heavily linked with a move to Arsenal at the start of this January transfer window, but he then sort of, about 10 days in said, listen, I'm staying at Brentford. I owe them. They've stuck with me through this gambling ban. And he's come back with a bang. Scored again last night against Tottenham, a game that they could have got at least a draw out of in the end. But Brentford losing that game. He's staying at Brentford. But I think it's almost universally accepted that he's going to be leaving Brentford at the end of this season. He's very keen on a move to Arsenal. It's how keen are Arsenal on a move for him. I think he'd be brilliant for Arsenal, as would Osimhen, either of those two. But Ivan Toney's going to be a big saga for the summer as well. Will we get him? Another player linked with us heavily this January transfer window is Martín Zubimendi of Real Sociedad. deep line midfielder, heavily linked, as he was last season to us. There's a lot of talk that Arsenal have already been in talks with him, and it's kind of agreed that come the summer, they'll meet that £51 million release clause that he has, and he will be on his way to the Emirates. But we're, again, going to have to wait and see. I think come the summer, we'll see the departure of Thomas Partey, particularly if Arsenal get him fit and play him between now and the end of the season. They're going to want to, cash it. Well, they're not going to cash in on him because they did buy him for a big fee, 50 million, but try and recoup back as much of that as possible. His contract is starting to run down as well. Zubimendi is looked upon as a big target for Arsenal, as is Amadou Onana of Everton. Another player that Arsenal are very, very keen on, was linked heavily with a move to Arsenal this January, but just not doable. I think maybe if Arsenal had the money, I could have seen the possibility of this one getting done, because Everton are going to have to sell Onana. They've got big financial troubles. They've got more charges hanging over them. Onana is definitely going to go in the summer. They're going to want to cash in 50, 60 million pounds. But will he end up at Arsenal? That's going to be another saga. So it's going to be an interesting summer, but January is dead right now. Let's take a look at some of the players that could be leaving today on transfer deadline day. Cédric, he's the obvious one. Contract up in the summer. And when he'll be able to walk away for free. Now, there's two clubs seemingly battling over him at the moment. That's Galatasaray and Besiktas over there in Turkey. Will one of them buy him before the end of the transfer window? It could even be a loan until the end of the season, with then having an option for them to take him on permanently. But Cédric could be leaving today. Hasn't, figured at all for Arsenal already this season. And with just league games and Champions League games to go, you can't see him getting into the team. Another player who's leaving Arsenal is Omar Rekik, on loan. He was on loan at Wigan, the 22-year-old, but he's now going on loan for the rest of the season to Servette over there in Switzerland. So Omar Rekik on another loan. Marquinhos, what is going to happen to him? On loan at Nantes, hasn't worked out for him, has come back to Arsenal. Lots of talk that he could be sold on a permanent basis to Corinthians. There's also other loan deals in the pipeline. Again, we should get some news and clarity on what his situation is going to be by the end of the day. Charles Sagoe Jr., who I spoke about a couple of days ago, he's going to be joining Swansea on loan from now till the end of the season. Really promising player for Arsenal, being sent out on loan to Swansea. Of course, there's a player out there already. There's an Arsenal player in Charlie Patino, so be able to team up with him and he'll be able to help him through. And hopefully Sagoe Jr. can go and have a great loan from now till the end of the season and come back a stronger player at the end of it. But Sagoe Jr. set to join Swansea. And Arsenal are selling Lino Sousa, who's again another left back from the academy. Really, really promising player, but he's leaving to join Aston Villa on a permanent deal, so he is going to be leaving the club. So even outgoings, there are no major sort of players on their way out. These are mainly academy players and, a player that's coming to right at the end of his contract. So it's been a very, very difficult transfer window. And Arsenal, basically, they've done all their money in the summer, and, I spoke about it the other day. Big chunk of that money was done on a couple of players. We know the Declan Rice one, and that's been an excellent signing. But the Havertz one, 65 million. Did we spend too much money on that one signing, which now limits us when we get to January? Because we made some good January signings. I think Jorginho was a good signing. I think Trossard, who was excellent the other night, has been decent signings. You can get some decent little 20, 10, 15 million pound signings at this time of year, but Arsenal just haven't got the money to do it. As is of literally every Premier League club. And I think that's why a lot of the Arsenal fans are not going in too hard on Arsenal, because they look around and they see Man United ain't doing anything. City have hardly done anything. Villa, hardly done anything. Spurs have probably been the busiest and spent the most. But nobody's really doing any business, you know. So it is what it is with this January transfer window. Doesn't look like Arsenal are going to sign anybody. But if they do, and if there is any big breaking major news, keep it locked here on Transfer Daily, and I will bring you up to date with everything that is happening, because we'll be doing breaking news stories throughout the day here on AFTV. So that's the end of the January transfer window. I want to thank all of you guys for watching the show faithfully each and every day. You know what I mean? Really enjoy your comments. Really enjoy the fact that I see so many of you out and about, and you guys will be coming up to me and asking me about the show and asking me about players that have been linked, etc. Really, really have enjoyed your company throughout this month. But it's the end of the January transfer window today. Closes at 11 p.m. UK time. Then after that, that's it. That's the players that will be at Arsenal from now until the end of the season. Two fronts still to fight on. The league, big game coming up at the weekend against Liverpool, right? And of course the Champions League, Porto, coming up in a couple of weeks' time. We're reaching a very, very, very important part of the season. And the question I'm asking you guys, do Arsenal have enough with the squad that we've got? Or should we push the boat out and brought somebody in? Thanks for watching the show. And what? I guess for Transfer Daily, I'll see you in the summer.